When the music is playing, Susan Boyle is absolutely triumphant. But behind the curtain, she's dealt with the pain of abuse, health struggles, and romantic setbacks. School is supposed to be a safe space for children, but alas, that isn't always the case, and it certainly wasn't for Susan Boyle. As she explained to the Daily Mail in 2017, "I was bullied then because I was different. People said horrible things to me. My mom was up at the school every single day. Bullying wasn't dealt with in schools like it is now. Not only did other children call Boyle names at school, but they also physically harmed her. She was unfairly labeled as hyperactive to explain her emotional sensitivities. It didn't help that at the time, little was understood about learning disabilities, and on top of the cruelty from her classmates, Boyle was even abused by her teachers. As she admitted to The Mirror in 2009, "You're looking at someone who would get the belt every day."
I was bullied at school, yeah.
You were bullied at school?
Because I had a slight disability and I was a bit slow. It hasn't really scarred me that much.
Things didn't get much better for Boyle when she got home from school, as she has revealed that her father Patrick was abusive to her. She admitted to the Daily Mail in 2016, "My father, though a very good man, had a temper. He showed it to me and he hurt me. He didn't mean to, but I held on to this for years, and when he was dying, I had to let it go. You have to accept it. That's maturity." To make matters more complicated, Boyle's parents were also overprotective. As she explained to the Daily Mail in 2011, "I was protected in cotton wool. They thought they were doing the right thing. They called me touchy." This went so far as protecting Boyle from romantic relationships, including one boyfriend she had at 25 years old who didn't gain her father's approval. As she recalled, "My dad decided that particular boy was not for me, and I was too immature to handle a relationship." Boyle has been open about the fact that she has epilepsy. This condition resulted in frequent seizures when she was a child, some of which left her unconscious. In 2011, she recalled to the Daily Mail, "At school, I used to faint a lot. It's something I've never talked about. I had epilepsy. People in the public eye don't have things like that." Epilepsy is defined as a brain disorder that causes multiple seizures due to electrical activity. Causes can include brain injuries, oxygen deprivation at birth, and a family history of seizures.
I used to find myself crying a lot. I used to find myself not being able to manage, not being able to cope.
As of 2023, Susan Boyle has never been married, though she was engaged at one point. She had a short-lived but serious relationship with a man named John, which she considered to be her first real romantic relationship. As she recalled to the Daily Mail, "He asked me to marry him after 7 weeks, although we'd only ever had a peck on the cheek, but he eventually got cold feet." It would be years before Boyle would feel like she could trust anyone romantically again. As she explained, "It made me sad in a way. It makes you feel unattractive. You feel that life is passing you by. But I thought, maybe there's something for me later. I was always optimistic." In 2007, Boyle's mother Bridget passed away. She was 91 years old, but this was still a particularly difficult loss for her daughter, who considered her mother her best friend. Susan's father had died in 1999. In 2009, she told the Daily Mail, "At a time like that, you can either be strong or go to pieces. I'd lost a father, but my mother had lost a lifelong partner. They were married in 1936 and had never been apart. She was devastated." In the wake of the loss, Boyle found herself dealing with loneliness and other mental health struggles. As she admitted to The Mirror in 2009, "That's when the loneliness set in, and there was nobody around except my cat Pebbles. When you lose someone as powerful as your mom, you feel as if a part of you is taken away, and that does things to your confidence." Bridget Boyle was 47 years old when Susan was born as the last of her 9 children. They were particularly close, but there was a downside to this, as Bridget was concerned about whether or not her daughter would ever be able to live on her own. This would ultimately instill a sense of anxiety in Susan. Susan Boyle knew from a young age that she wanted to sing. Her parents allowed her to do so in a club, and she was also active in her local Catholic church. Not everyone supported her aspirations, though her mother was constantly there for her. As she told the Irish News in 2019, "Music was always my bubble, though, my safe place. It's well known that I had a tough time at school and was bullied by other children, but I did have some lovely friends and a supportive family. My mother was the greatest role model in my life and was the one who always encouraged me to sing and strive for a music career." Boyle's first major audition didn't occur until she tried out for Britain's Got Talent in Glasgow, Scotland, when she was 47. She had reportedly tried out for 12 other shows before this one. She famously sang "I Dreamed a Dream" and quickly launched herself to instant stardom. Despite impressing the judges and viewers, Boyle was also the subject of ridicule among some of the audience members who laughed at her. In the wake of that reaction, there was an op-ed published in The Guardian with the title, "It wasn't singer Susan Boyle who was ugly on Britain's Got Talent, so much as our reaction to her."
What had started off as a bit of fun for her had now become quite scary.
As a contestant on Britain's Got Talent, Susan Boyle surprised everyone with her beautiful voice and with the fact that she wasn't as young as many other contestants. Alas, the sudden fame she then experienced was quite overwhelming. She wasn't even able to leave her home because of all of the members of the press surrounding her house. And it wasn't just the intense media attention that was making Boyle anxious. She was also uncertain how she felt now that her life seemed to be going in a positive direction. For one thing, she was suspicious of some of her new friendships. As she admitted to the Daily Mail in 2011, "I have insecurity that my friends won't be my friends after a while. I don't sleep easily if I think that. That's why I don't sleep easily at the posh house. When I first went for Britain's Got Talent, I had such a feeling of failure, and that's still part of me. It's hard when that's been the pattern of your life. It's hard to believe those patterns have been broken."
There were times I was okay and times I wasn't okay.
Despite Boyle's breakthrough on Britain's Got Talent in 2009, she ultimately didn't win season 3, as she instead had to settle for runner-up to the dance group Diversity. Plenty of viewers were stunned at that result, but the second-place finish was still remarkable, particularly for someone who had endured so much in her personal life. But what should have been a joyous time in Boyle's life didn't exactly work out that way, as both the physical and emotional toll of the show proved to be too much for her to handle. Shortly after the season finale, she collapsed and was taken to the hospital. She has also admitted that finishing as the runner-up may have led to a panic attack, as it made her fear that her career could be over. In 2013, Susan Boyle revealed that she had been diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome. With this news also came the realization that her diagnosis of brain damage when she was a child was incorrect. As she confided to The Observer, "I always knew it was an unfair label. Asperger's syndrome used to be recognized as its own separate condition, but is now included under the umbrella of autism spectrum disorder." In that interview with The Observer, Boyle also discussed how knowing the correct diagnosis offered a bit of relief, as she now felt that she understood herself better. As she put it, "It will not make any difference to my life. It's just a condition that I have to live with and work through. I think people will treat me better because they will have a much greater understanding of who I am and why I do the things I do."
Asperger's, you just have to make people aware that sometimes you have to go at a certain pace.
Boyle has been very open about the fact that she experienced bullying when she was a child. Her perseverance in the face of such cruelty has since shaped her into someone with an optimistic and fighting spirit. Unfortunately, though, she still had to face some bullying even in her adult life. In a 2017 interview with the Daily Mail, she discussed how she's been the target of intimidation, particularly from teenagers. As she revealed, "They have been shouting at me, taunting, saying vile things, swearing. And on one occasion, they were throwing things at the bus I was sitting on." In addition to these incidents, Boyle has also had to deal with reliving the trauma of her childhood bullying. Nevertheless, she remains strong and won't let these experiences drive her away from the neighborhood she grew up in. As she put it, "I love my house. It's where I grew up. Why would I move out because of a group of teenagers who behave like that? They are bullies who shout and throw things, but it is my home and where I feel safe." She also takes solace in the fact that she now has more fans than bullies. As she noted, "I can now entertain people, make them happy. For me, it's about turning a negative into a positive." Susan Boyle has had a busy career since her sudden rise to fame on Britain's Got Talent. Because of the incessant press coverage she's had to endure, it's understandable that she would want to keep her personal life personal. So while relatively little is known about any family plans she may have had, she did once reveal to Lady magazine, "If I had a man friend, it would be purely platonic. I've been on my own too long now to get married." However, Boyle's attitude about having children is quite different from her thoughts on marriage. She turned 62 in April 2023, and she doesn't plan on having any children, though she considers this one of her biggest regrets in life. In 2019, she told The Sun, "I've never had any of my own. That's my biggest regret. But I love kids." However, she also opened up the possibility of fostering or adopting kids. As she noted, "I've got something to bring my family home to. I have a lovely house, why not share it?" In addition to the lovely house, the kids would also surely have an all-around lovely person to share it with. During the Britain's Got Talent season finale in June 2023, Susan Boyle revealed that she experienced a minor stroke the previous April. Her return to the show was particularly special for her in the wake of her health scare.
Last April there, I suffered a minor stroke.
Did you?
And I thought like crazy to get back on stage, and I have done it.
The term minor stroke can be a bit of a misnomer. There's no precise definition, but in general, if someone has a minor stroke, then it usually means that their symptoms are mild overall, and they don't usually lead to permanent disability. Boyle further revealed on her Instagram, "For the past year, I've worked so hard to get my speech and singing back, with the sole aim of being able to sing on stage again. And tonight my hard work and perseverance paid off, singing the song that started it all, I Dreamed a Dream." Clearly, that hard work paid off, as everyone who was watching was happy to see Boyle thriving on stage once again. If you or someone you know may be the victim of child abuse, please contact the Child Help National Child Abuse Hotline at 1-800-4A-CHILD, 1-800-422-4453, or contact their live chat services.